necessary to know like the foundation of economics before going deeper in microeconomics, because maybe we have two main branches in economics, which is microeconomics and macroeconomics. So we have to know the difference, and then we can go deeper to the concepts of microeconomics. That's why even before knowing the concepts of microeconomics and macroeconomics, it's better to introduce the economics itself, to define what is economics and what types of study or what types of goals is behind the economics study. We have to know that one first. And then it will be easier to go deeper in the branches of economics, which is micro and macro. So the first thing, you know this guy, it's Adam Smith. He's the father of economics, because he is the one that provided like a foundation of economic theories. Maybe before this guy, there were some like very small discussion about economics, but he is the one that who created like more economics in his book as a like Nation Wealth. Then after that, there's another like economist or scholars that they focus more on economics. So he is a big guy. He makes us more in trouble to study now economics. Otherwise, we didn't need that one. It's okay. So now let's have a very clear and also detailed definition about economics. There are too many definitions actually for economics. Each scholar try to define economics in their own way. But one of the generally accepted definition for economics is this one. Economics is the scientific study of how individuals, organizations, or societies make decisions in the face of scarcity. So this is like a kind of generally accepted definition for economics. So we have how many keywords here? Scientific study, individuals, organizations, or societies make decision, and scarcity. So we have four key concepts or four key terms here to understand. Then we can clearly understand the concept or the definition of economics. First one, economics is a scientific study. We should know that every study is not scientific. The scientific study has its own characteristic, its own way of doing. So there are two main features for any scientific study. A scientific study, it means we are doing scientifically or academically research on that area, on that field of interest, on that field of like knowledge, by having two basic characteristics. The first one, a scientific study is a kind of a study that we can create some assumptions. We can create some assumptions and then we work on assumptions. Do you think literature is a science?
It is included in.
It's not a scientific study, because do you think in literature we can make some assumptions?
No.
Yeah. So one of the basic characteristics of a scientific study is that we should be able to make assumptions. Like for example, we assume that if the price of other product being fixed, if the price of a specific product increase, the quantity of demand would decrease. It's an assumption. First is assumption. We can draw conclusion by providing assumptions and working on assumptions. Then at the end, we can provide conclusions. Okay, this is the things that I brought. When the price increase, the quantity of demand decrease. We assume first. So by the way, when it comes to economics and in a basic foundation, we have two important assumptions. The first one is ceteris paribus. In English, it means other things fixed or other things being equal. For example, if we want to interpret this result, when the price of orange increase, the quantity of demand for the orange will decrease. If the price of other goods, the taste of the consumer, and also the income of the consumer is fixed, there's no change. Like the price of apple, there's no change in the price of apple. There's no change in your taste and preference. There's no change in income. That time it's called other things fixed or other things being equal. So that's why mostly even in econometrics, we use the assumption of ceteris paribus to find out the relationship between two variables. And also another one is rationality. Rationality means that people make decision based on a reason. It means reason-based decision making. And in rationality, we assume that people do something which is best for them. People choose always better things than worse things. For example, if I gave you a two banknote, which is one is $20, one is $20 and one is $100, which one would you pick? For sure, you would pick the better one. The better one is $100, not the $20. So then, that means you are behaving rationally.
As long as a person prefers $20,
Yeah.
it is fine. It could be recognized as rational. Just like someone like cold food, someone like hot food.
Yeah.
These people could be recognized as rational. But one thing is critical is if he likes hot food,
Yeah.
he always likes hot food. Every time he make his choice, he prefer hot food. That is the definition.
Yeah, because he thinks that hot food is better for him.
Yeah.
So as I say, people may choose something that's better for them.
Just for him. You mean
for them, I mean for people, for specific people. I don't mean for them all the nation. For them, I mean, or for him or for her as a specific person. So I mean, each individual choose something that's best for him. Maybe what I prefer is different from someone else's preference. And also, as you said, in completeness, we will talk about later in consumer theory mostly about that. So incompleteness means either we prefer this goods, for example, either we prefer orange to apple, or we prefer apple to orange, or we are indifferent between both. Why? When we prefer orange to apple, it means orange is better for me than apple. I think orange is better. When we prefer apple than orange, I think apple is better for me. When I say that it doesn't matter for me, anything is fine. It means both of them is equally preferable for me. Either orange or apple, both of them is the same. But in transferability, it says that more is always better. Because if you prefer X to Y and Y to Z, it means you prefer X to Z as well. Because X is more than Y and Y is more than Z. It means X is also more than Z. But this one, by the way, so rationality is the basic assumption of economics, that you make decision based on a reason. As he said, maybe you prefer $20 rather than $50 because you think $20 will give you more utility than $50. That means always more utility is always better than less utility. More utility is always better than less utility. The second thing, when it comes to economics, we draw a conclusion is positive conclusion, normative conclusion. And positive conclusion, we say what it is. There's no argument. That means we don't argue, we just accept what it is. For example, when we say, okay, after our research, we find out that there is a gender wage gap exists in the labor market. This is the reason. 1, 2, 3, the reason. Then there's no argue on that. Why this is the reason? I don't agree with you. just when it comes to like argument, then what should be done or what it should be, then we argue. For example, when it comes to, let's suppose that in positive economics, we found out that 20% of population do not have access to healthcare services. And normative, some economists may say that, okay, we should decrease the budget from that part and bring it to consume that one to this part. But some economists or policymaker will not agree to that one. There's argument, there's discussion to find out the better policy. So this is like normative conclusion. When it comes to normative conclusion, I think we mostly focus on policy implication, or to find out some what should we do to change the situation. And also, this is scientific study of how individual organization or societies. When it comes to individual and organization, we are dealing mostly with microeconomics. An individual person, like me, you, like an individual firm or organization, we assume that one firm or one organization is one economic agent. So individual, or sometimes we, instead of individual, we use household, because we think a household or like individual or household play, or how to say, they behave like an individual. They have the same preference or the same behavior. Individual or household, and also organization and firms, how they satisfy their goals is the matter of microeconomics. And microeconomics, for the individuals and households, we say that mostly they are consumer. And for organization or firm, we say that they are mostly producer. Maybe some organizations, they are not working for profit, they have non-profit organization, but still they have something in their mind to increase their like payoff. That payoff may be like not money, that payoff may be some credibility. So they want to increase that one. But in basic, and mostly in microeconomics, which we deal with household and firms, we assume that the household or individuals try to maximize their utility by consuming the goods or services that the firms produce. By utility, we mean satisfactions. We means like fulfillment of desire. We means happiness, how much happy you are. So we want to maximize as much as possible our happiness. But firms try to maximize their profit. So mostly in microeconomics, we deal with these two concepts: utility maximization and profit maximization, and also equilibrium of those two. How we have a point that firm could maximize their profit, and also individual could maximize their like utility, the equilibrium, like general and partial equilibrium. We may talk later on. But in macroeconomics, we mostly focus on society as a whole. On society as a whole, for example, unemployment, the whole level of country. For example, inflation at the whole level of country. Monetary policy at the whole level of country. Like financial policy at the whole, or physical policy at the whole level of country. So it comes to like society as a whole, or country as a whole as a decision maker. When it comes to country, like government make decision for the whole country, what policy, what is the level of unemployment, inflation. When we study about those kind of things, we mostly focus on macroeconomics. But in this course, we are mostly focusing on this microeconomics. And also, they should make decision based on three economic questions: what, how, and who. So this what question could be different based on different economic agenda. For example, when it comes to individuals, we may ask what to get to consume with our resources that we have. When it comes to producer or firms, what to produce with our resources. and in basic what to do, and also how to produce, to do, or to get what we want. Because there's like different way of getting something. For example, if you want to have an orange, there's different way of getting orange. If you want to produce like a pen, there is different strategy to produce this pen. Maybe more capital, less labor, less capital, more labor. Then you will choose by how, by what kind of technology, by what way, and who should produce, to do, or to get. So there are three basic questions we should answer. Why we should answer this three basic question? Because we cannot get all the things that we want. We have to make decision because the problem of scarcity. We face scarcity. The problem of scarcity means basically what we want, our goals, is much more than what we have, resources or factors. Like we assume that what we want is unlimited. We want everything to have in our life, to enjoy everything. As an average person, for example, if we think about an average person, want to have everything. But can he or she have everything? No. For example, within 24 hours, I want to do many things. I want to study at the same time. Now, I want to study, and at the same time, I want to play tennis. Can I do both? No. Because although my want is unlimited, I want to do many things, I want to have many things, but because of limited factors or resources that we have, for example, one of the things is time, is limited. So that's why we have to deal with this problem by asking this question and making like a rational decision to get the highest utility or profit possible, either for consumer or for producer. Like we are talking about consumer, when we're talking about consumer, it's utility. And some economists say profit itself is a kind of a different, another kind of utility. Because what is profit? By profit maximization, firms want to satisfy their needs, they want to satisfy their wants and happiness and desire and satisfaction. So it means it's another kind of utility, but producing. So we want to satisfy. And here, how we want to satisfy this utility? By using land or natural resources, by using labor, by using capital, and some economists say entrepreneurship is also another factor of production.
What is it?
Factor of production. Another short note. FOP, factor of production, the factors that we produce. Land or natural resources, labor, which is our human resource. Human capital, the human resource like our energy, our ability, our skills, our effort, and capital, which is equipment, like this is a capital. This pen is a capital. And also entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, it says that a creative way of producing something. But mostly in basic economics, we assume that we have labor and capital to make it easier to work. Because some people says that land itself is a kind of capital, but it is natural capital. And entrepreneurship is a kind of labor. Entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs is a kind of labor. So that's why we mostly focus on labor and capital. So now, as I said before, when it comes to the three economic question, consumer and also producer, they may have different type of question. For consumer, we have what to consume. For producer, we have what to produce or sell. For firms or producer, because we have some firms that they are only sellers. They don't produce, they only sell. They get something from some other place and they all sell. They're selling. How to get it? How to get it? Either like buy from online shopping, from a store, or sometimes make by themselves, or sometimes buy. So different way of getting the things that you want to consume. How to produce or sell? these guys are asking, who will consume it? For example, you will consume by yourself, with your family, your child, because when you buy like a baby clothes, maybe your child will consume or use this one. Who will get the good we produce? The producer should answer this question, because they produce for some people, they should clear the consumer. Who is willing to pay higher are the people that are consuming your producer. You are targeting those people. But in other way, in political economics, we may have different answer for this question. What to produce these types of goods? How to produce, like by open market. Who should consume? It's different kinds of answer, and different kinds of question in political economy. But we are mostly focusing on microeconomics. In microeconomics, we focus most on consumer and producer. We have to answer this question. But there is another modern definition, which is like mostly it deals with game theory. Because mostly in our class, we dealing with game theory many times. So nowadays, modern economists, that the definition was like a kind of basic, or old economists was trying to define by that way. But now modern economists, they define by this way economics. Economics is the study of incentives in all social institutions. Economics is the study of incentives in all social institutions. So now, and here we have only 2 keywords. And last definition, we had 4 keywords, but here we only have 2 keywords. So it's a kind of advanced definition, because if you provide this definition for an undergrad degree student, maybe it's hard to understand for that guy. So mostly in graduate level, we are dealing with this kind of decision, this kind of definition. So what's an institution? An institution is a mechanism that governs the behavior of a set of individuals within given community. For example, college is an institution. Hospital, bank, a family, or this class is an institution. So it's the mechanism that governs the behavior, how they behave, how the bank, how the college, how the institution, how the family behave. And when it comes to like dealing in economic activities, how they behave. And another question, are the social institution? It depends on the context. Like maybe family is a social organization. Like a college is a social organization. Hospital, bank. So it depends on the context, how we define that. And also when it comes to incentive is something that motivates you to do something or to work. Something that pushes you, something that induces you to do something. We are studying here because of something that pushes us, something that induces us, motivates us, make us to do this thing. Anything, it can be possible. Or, in another definition, incentive is something such as fear of punishment or expectation of rewards that induce action or motivate efforts. Again, we study because fear of a punishment, that punishment is failing in the exam. Or because of a reward, because if we study, we get A+ and we get a scholarship, and it's a reward. So it depends on what strategy we'll use to induce someone. Sometimes fear of punishment will work for some people. Sometimes like expectation of reward may work. Or maybe there's an expectation of reward. Professor will tell you, okay, if you get A+, I will provide you scholarship. That's like an expectation of reward. That induce action or motivate effort. So we have different kinds of incentive. But in economics, most notable incentive is price, tax, interest rate. So it depends on what we are talking about. For the consumer, price is one of the most things that induce you to buy something or to not buy something. Tax maybe for a firm, or interest rate for an investor. So it depends on what economics incentive motivate you to do. Or we have moral incentive like social, culture, and society norms. Each society may have different norms. That different norms may induce you to do something or to not do something, because in each society we have don't do list, we have do list. So that society or culture environment may motivate you to do or not do something. And we have coercive incentive, like punishment, as I said there. Or we have remunerative incentive, like material rewards, like bonus, profit sharing. For example, what induce employees to work hard? As a employer, you will say, okay, I will pay a bonus. I will share you in the profit of company, induce them to work hard. So the most important question, how incentive works? How incentive works, what they will affect. So incentives change the choice set or alternatives. Like, for example, when you're single and you get married, getting married as a kind of incentive that induces you to change your choice set. Before getting married, you would spend a lot of time with spending your friends, outgoing, outdoor parties. But after getting married, many of choices changed. Now you have to spend more time with your family rather than with your friend. So even maybe the bundles or the community that you bring in your choice bundle, they will change. And also you may have different alternatives when moves on. And also it changed the individual preferences. For example, price as an incentive, as economics incentive, will change your preferences. If the price of something increase or decrease, your preference will change. Or even in society, when something happens, it will change your preferences. So the incentive works in this way. So this is what we were talking today about. Then we will move tomorrow on our main concept, which is more microeconomics focus. Any questions?